Greetings, YouTube. There seems to be a mall in Ohio that has decided that teens have been a problem. So to curb this issue, they have issued a ruling that on Friday and Saturdays after 4 p.m., anyone 18 years or younger must be escorted by, or under 18, must be escorted by someone who is 21 or older. Now, malls are private organizations. It's private property. What they want to do about this kind of situation is completely up to them. And some malls have done this already, and some have seen an improvement in business. Sometimes it drives up the attendance of families with small children who don't want to be around unescorted teenagers. Though I really think they need to make an exception for the employees of the mall, because I'm sure that there are quite a few employees of a mall, ages, say, 16 and 17, maybe even some 15-year-olds, depending on the type of job it is. And I think it would be kind of a hassle expecting the managers of those stores to have to escort their employees in and out of the mall every time they went to break. I know I would cause a ruckus if I were a manager and that was what required of me. But I think this is just a symptom of a much larger issue. And the much larger issue is, what do we do with teens? Now, we expect them to be in school, attended as they're supposed to until they graduate. And we expect them to be at home, where their families are, and probably their computers and their PS3s and what have you. But the rest of the time, where do we expect them to go? If they hang out in parks, they get chased off. If they hang out in parking lots, they get chased off. If they go and hang out at their friend's house, their friend's parents are probably going to chase them off. There doesn't seem to be a third place in our society for teens. And because of this, we end up with this kind of schizophrenic attitude about teens. We want them to grow up really fast and get over that whole teen period, but we don't provide the kind of tools and the environment and the social constructs that they need to make that transition from child to an adult in a healthy, well-balanced way. We don't have adulthood rights anymore, and we desperately need them. At one time in America, you could have said maybe getting a license is an adulthood right, but we have extended childhood all the way up to the end of college, so that really doesn't cut it anymore. You could have said that maybe at one time that losing one's virginity was considered an adulthood right, but that was only for men, because if a girl admitted that she had lost her virginity, society would then shame her forever. And because people who have been losing their virginity younger and younger, that really isn't a good indication of adulthood right anyway. I mean, what does it mean when a kid becomes sexually active at 12 or 13 or 14? Are they an adult yet? In some societies, yes, but our society, no. It says, and some people become sexually active at one age, but don't actually technically lose their virginity until much an older age. So, again, that is no longer an indicator of anything. I think the fact that our society puts so much emphasis on virginity as it is unhealthy. So, we don't have an apprenticeship system left either, where you have a mentor-mentee situation, where you have, an adult taking a child, a 12 or a 13-year-old, and transitioning them through a vocation into adulthood. And not only training them in something that they can then use for the rest of their life, but helping guide them through those really hard years when their lives are in the most turmoil they're probably ever going to be until they have a midlife crisis and decide they really need to own a rice rocket. And so we're failing these teens at every turn. We're just letting them down. Now, teens want to be useful. They don't want to be left out in the cold. They're not lazy and shiftless and meaningless. They want to be involved. They want to be part of society. Except society seems to have no place for them. So that's going to make them say, be a little unruly towards society. If you show an interest in being involved in something, and yet every time you try to be involved in that thing, you get shut down, how is your opinion going to become of that thing, of that activity, of that event, of that organization? it's probably not going to be overly positive. So it couldn't come as a surprise to anybody that teens are maybe not too happy with the adults around them. Now, I honestly don't have the answer. I'm not a child psychologist. But the people in charge of our education system don't seem to have any ideas either. And when it comes to funding teen centers, so kids will have some place to go to play basketball and pool and maybe mentor younger kids or help people with their homework and just like be that transitional stage that they are. Funding for those kind of places dries up in a heartbeat. Whenever there's a funding cut, whoop, get rid of those things. We don't need them. And yet, then again, society turns around and says, well, we have a teen problem. No, you had a teen solution. You made a teen problem. So we have a teen problem in America. We need to make a solution. And it isn't going to be more rules and regulations. It isn't going to be more curfews and escorts. What's it going to be is finding a third place for these people. Because they're not kids. They're not adults. But they are people. And if we treat them with respect and decency, you will be surprised. Because you know what? They will return the favor. And they will treat you with respect and decency.